stuff. Just kidding.
Hey, did you see who I was wearing though?
Yes, I see. I saw.
Okay, you cannot disrespect the late Derek Thomas.
Yeah. Whatever we say. All right, and welcome to this episode of the Real Sharks podcast. It is your host, as always, Rob, with his co-host Donna out there in KC, and Steve and Luke out there in California.
Hello.
Yo.
We thank you for joining us on all our fabulous podcasting platforms. Please make sure you listen, like, and subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications. And make sure to check out all our clothing at jaggedtoothclothing.com, everybody, and check out the shirts. Help support the show. Thank you. Let's go ahead and get started with the movie news. But I got some news for everyone right now. Right now, we're drinking on the show heavily, and I'm drinking.
That's all Luke needed to hear.
Everyone just put up their bottle of booze right now on screen. For those of you who are not watching at home but listening, we just all held up our booze. And I got the perfect story to start this one out. This one really kind of tickled me pink, everybody. Yeah. So I don't know if you guys heard, a 200-pound Shrek statue got stolen, and they actually have the police looking for it. Yep, it was a residential home that had a 200-pound Shrek statue, and now it's gone missing. It was, I don't know if you guys seen this. I'll try and put the picture up there, but this thing does not look like Shrek at all. I mean, if you look at the article, this thing is creepy. Look, it looks more like a Martian than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what do you guys think about this? I mean, I think it's funny when people do this kind of stuff. There was a bar around here where they had a Captain Morgan piece, and someone stole. It was 800 pounds. So there's no surprise in my mind that someone can steal a 200-pound Shrek statue.
Yeah.
But what would you do with that?
I don't know. I'm trying to take a look at where's that stupid photo?
It just seems like that. Yeah, like you're going through the effort of stealing something that's like worthless, right? And then now you have it, and now they've gotten the police involved, so police resources are being used on finding a statue that doesn't even look like Shrek in the first place.
No, it doesn't look.
It's
like
Shrek. The color is off, the face is weird.
This is such a bad.
Yeah.
It's a bad rendition of Shrek.
Why does anybody care about this?
Right, and enough to spark a police report and a news article about it. And it's not like I found this on one news article. I found this on multiple sites.
I'm more curious how that happened. Like, why? Where is Hatfield?
Where was it?
What state is Hatfield in?
I want to know where they're having it. It's like the new centerpiece of attention, like the lamp leg.
Massachusetts.
Yeah.
It's in Massachusetts, and see, that's not even that crazy of a place. Well, it's kind of Boston.
Massachusetts.
It is Boston.
So Massachusetts, because again, it doesn't look. It's not a good statue. It's
man-made for some reason. So somebody has some.
I don't know why anybody wanted to do that. I don't know why that is even a thing. It's
I think a Ronald McDonald statue was stolen once too, if I'm not mistaken.
That makes sense, though. That makes sense.
Yeah,
that's Ronald McDonald. It probably costs a lot of money.
Yeah,
from the one where he used to sit on the bench.
Oh yeah,
it was stolen. And they were offering around $1,500 for it.
That's it.
I wouldn't have given that up. If I had Ronald McDonald in my backyard where you could sit with him, I could go out in my backyard and just say, Ron, I gotta talk to you about my day. I just need you to listen.
Isn't there a creepypasta about the Ronald, or have we even gone over that? The creepypasta about the Ronald McDonald statue?
There's a creepypasta about Ronald McDonald?
Oh, or about the sitting Ronald McDonald. I think it's something about like
It is.
Like a
There's
homeless man. Like there's a creepypasta that like somebody claimed the statue was talking to them late at night, and
That's fucking
and
horrifying.
they were like, and it was late at night, so everybody just thought it was a prank, and then supposedly that person went missing, and then after that happened, all of the Ronald McDonald statues got taken away, which I don't even think was the case. I think they just, I don't think they even did that. I don't even think they got rid of them. I think
When someone checks themselves into a mental hospital, they can't release any information, and that's a good sign of schizophrenia right there.
Yeah.
right.
No, yeah, because I also don't think that they just got rid of all of the statues overnight. I just think they slowly phased them out as they were doing the redesigns.
Yeah.
Kind of like the
Yeah,
McDonald's gang, like Grover and all that stuff. They
Grover.
just kind of.
Yeah, I kind of feel it
Yeah.
feels like they disappeared overnight, but it was a gradual.
Yeah.
Is the pink one Rummix? Is that what was the pink one called? The purple one? I'm sorry, the purple one. He used to have 4 arms. He used to be the bad guy.
Grimace?
He did.
Grimace,
Yeah,
he used to have 4 arms.
Yeah, he used to have 4 arms. Then, like in the '90s, he turned good, I believe.
Became a
Yeah.
bad guy.
Then he had 2 arms.
Isn't that interesting that there is storylines within these commercial characters?
Yes.
One
Dude,
point
they
it was the
had toys.
Hamburglar was a bad guy, and then he reformed to be part of the
Oh
gang.
no! And then they
Grimace
made
the same way.
Then they did like a hot version of the Hamburglar.
Hamburger.
Remember that?
Right.
Oh my god, I do.
They made him all
Grimace.
hot. They made him like a normal guy with like scruff. He was like a human
Scruff?
man.
Yeah, it was so weird with all these people, and then they started bringing in like Mayor McCheese and all these other people coming in.
Donna, do you think a man dressed as Hamburglar just gets the
job done? Oh yeah.
No, okay, well, you heard it here.
That's 100% somebody's kink out there. They're dressing up as like.
Oh, I guarantee you, there's a
Hamburglar.
kink for every goddamn one of those characters. I guarantee you there is.
Oh yeah.
Ronald McDonald is already there, but like
Yeah.
the whole gang, yeah, definitely.
So here's something everyone needs to fucking get over, and I'm really, and I never bring these articles up because one, there's so many of them, and I'm really, really tired of them. Is the constant article about Leonardo DiCaprio surviving on the Titanic?
Oh yeah.
This
Yeah.
goddamn fucking story about, well, she could have give him room on the door. He didn't have to survive. It has gone so far, my audience and my crew, that National Geographic's new television special, Titanic 25 Years Later with James Cameron, uses scientific testing to prove that there are some scenarios where Rose and Jack could have both survived on the wooden door.
They are movie characters that were fictional. They weren't even on the real Titanic.
It's not the point, Steve. The point is the romance could have gone. She could have gone on and had lots of babies, but with Jack.
It was a big ass door, dude. She laid all over there.
She was like on it. When I go back and I watch that film too, I'm like, she's clearly at an angle. Like if you maybe did like a side by side, like if we kind of stacked each other up like that, we could have made it.
Yeah, they could have just been like, one on the other side, because it's like a double door. So,
but why is this scene so talked about all the damn time? I mean, more than the boat sinking itself, the whole "you'll never let go." Is it just because it's a beautiful scene, or is it because it's funny? Which one?
A little
Both.
You think? Okay, so we're in agreement here. It's a beautiful scene and funny.
Yeah.
Also, I think there's another fact that doesn't often get talked about is that like I feel the way that the scene was done is I don't think Jack was doing it intentionally. I thought he could pull through.
Right.
I feel like
Temples.
I think he was in the water. He was cold as fuck, but in his head he was probably like, I got this.
I got this.
Like,
I got
this.
He was definitely not thinking, I'm going to sacrifice myself for Rose. He was thinking, I got this. I'm good.
Personally, my favorite part is even smaller than that. My favorite part is when she's trying to break his hand off of hers, and for a split second, it's like,
oh, right.
Yeah.
That
He
part always
legit
made me
probably
laugh.
exactly. His brain was freezing to death. He wasn't thinking like, "Hey, can I get on there too?" He's just like, no, I'm good. I'm dead."
That's why I love the Family Guy part when he's just when death stops existing and all of a sudden he's on the Titanic. She's like, "Jack, now we can go to New York and have a life together." He's like, "Oh
yeah.
yeah."
Yeah.
He's like, "There's kind of a girl there, and it's kind of getting serious, He's like, "But I can't believe you let me draw you naked."
You're right. I know, right. Jack is not really like. I mean, he's just an everyman.
He's a homeless Irish guy.
Right.
Yeah,
Homeless,
he's a charming hobo.
way-
Let's be honest.
yeah.
Right. He gambled his way onto the ship, and then
Yeah.
he seduced a rich girl who did not offer him. She could have been like, yeah, he's freezing his mind, basically as I'm looking at him. I could say like, hey, look, I can move and drag you onto this boat. Like I'm. She had the life jacket on too. I remember.
In a weird way, I wish Titanic was like a remake of a Charlie Chaplin film where Charlie Chaplin played Jack.
So it's
Just facial
quiet the whole time.
expressions.
A silent film.
Yeah, but you had the rendition when she's all like, and then words right there. I'll never let go, Jack. And Charlie Chaplin's like, as he's going down the beach,
Cueing the ragtime piano music as he's floating down into the water.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Three Stooges in it.
With the boat sinking. So, Marvel is generated towards kids and not for adults with no kids. This is what actor Seth Rogen has said. He's the new actor taking a strike at the Marvel Universe. Like so many others, my audience, and my listeners, and my crew. It seems like this has become almost, and I don't want to say we did it first, but we fucking did it first. It's just like, why does everyone seem they can just take pot shots at Marvel and think they can like get brownie points off it when we were doing it first? But really, I mean, I know what we've asked this question before, but I'm gonna ask it again because now that we have Don on here, I want to know: is Marvel directed towards kids, unlike DC? I've already made this argument. I want to hear what you guys have to say again.
It's a very good question. I would say on the whole, yes. Does Disney know what they're doing with, by making it, more accessible to adults as well? Yes, much like their Disney movies. Obviously it's going to be geared towards kids, but it knows that it's going to be there for the long term for the adults who are watching with the kids and then who are going to watch it, down there. And again, most of these comic book characters we are watching them because we saw them first as kids.
But doesn't that make a little bit more sense that they would be more directed towards the people that read the comics and know the characters, as opposed to kids that are just getting directly the
but the thing is that like Marvel's taken a lot of liberties with with the comic stories, and they've done a lot of things to make them their own, which I think is good, and that affects the comics. I mean, I think it. I would say a lot of it probably is still more oriented towards adults, but I think, like, in principle,
says the man with the SpongeBob
fundamentally
background.
I was going to make that comment.
I don't know. I think this is an interesting thing going on because I think there is real. I feel like there is real anxiety right now in the mainstream Hollywood industry in regards to Marvel, and I think that they, from a business standpoint and just a broader standpoint, are valid, because I do think we are we are sort of converging everything to be a Marvel movie, and I think at this point I do not consider it superhero fatigue. I think it's like Marvel has an unstoppable juggernaut of a movie machine, and nothing else can get in its way. And so it's either you either have to imitate what they're doing or try anything else, and anything else is always going to be a risk now, and that's not something that studios particularly like. They don't like risk, so it is creating a problem, I think.
I think it's a movie industry fatigue, like you were saying, though, too. I think it's also because Marvel does bring in the money, like you were saying, but because also, too, making a rated R film cuts an audience in half. They're not going to make back a full-fledged all their money in production if they don't, at least get everyone in the theaters, as many asses in the seats.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I think, too. I think that's why it's creating such anxiety, too, because you can't just have an independent film. You can't just have a rated R movie anymore. It has to be. You have have to make something back on it, and there's no safer way to do that than with
yeah,
Marvel
and you
films.
can't make it big budget either. I think the only R-rated movie these days you're going to get away with are low budget horror films.
Right.
That's the audience anyway. But yeah, it's a weird situation, especially now that we're getting more and more into stuff that like now more and more movies are doing streaming. Now we're just going straight to streaming.
Straight to streaming. So you don't really need a rating there. You just stream.
Thought you could
Exactly.
hurt
And so
us
it's like
too,
weird-
right? No.
And it's like, where does that leave movie theaters? Because now the only thing that is reliably getting people into the theaters are Marvel movies.
I'm
Right.
waiting to get a word in.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Okay, so Seth Rogen can shut his whore mouth. I was watching Marvel movies before I even had kids, but it does go towards it. You have kids, it's a family movie night. You can go watch it. You don't have kids, you can go watch it and not have to be worried about getting judged for watching a kids movie. Don't look at me like that. I'm getting a stink eye from my husband.
About Marvel movies.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right, though. I mean, that's kind of exactly what we're saying is like that's the safest bet to do is a Marvel style, rubber stamped kind of film nowadays to be able
It's
to
safe.
make your money back. It's a safe.
And
It's a safe bet.
every studio is still taking their shot at doing a shared universe.
Yep.
You know, DC is now on round 2. They're on.
Well, they got James Gunn now, and word is, and I'm just gonna say I've already read some of the articles. I didn't really want to bring it to the forefront, but he already said the whole, and you already knew this from Real Sharks. If any of you out there are listening to this, and we've spoken about this for years, James Gunn basically confirmed it. He said DC's approach to their whole universe is fucked up. They ain't got no idea what they want to do, and we've known that for years. It's always been individual projects that have basically no universal impact of solidarity towards the actual stories, like a Justice League. So he's basically saying, yeah, it's fucked up. We're gonna have to do round 2 here. We're gonna start over.
Is it round 2? I don't even know what round. It's funny that it looks like round 2 because I'm like, how many rounds are we?
I would
How
say
many rounds
it's
do we
like
need?
it's like round it's definitely round 2, and everything in between that was like round 1A, round 1-8. Like it was like 0.101, and now it's like full clean slate. We're gonna try this again
for like since the last decade. Same thing with Marvel. It's like I think you guys are right on, all three of you guys. It's the formula of like the happenstance of the comedy mixed with the action, and you don't really need to act too much. It's more improvised, and there's just a lot of that happening. We've seen it in not only Marvel but DC as well. And like you guys are saying about the revival of DC, I hope that he means it, well, James Gunn, because again, DC is
gonna take the Marvel formula to it.
Yeah, and if he does that, then it's already gonna fail because DC is not Marvel. The characters, they're not the same.
They're not Marvel.
And
they're not
they're
the
not
same.
written the same. So it's gonna be weird if he writes them the same. And it's James Gunn. James Gunn is famous for what? Guardians of the Galaxy.
Marvel films.
He's and the Suicide Squad. That was sort of like Guardians of the Galaxy style writing. So.
Yeah.
If he's gonna go jokey with like Batman and Wonder Woman and everything, I don't think it's gonna play out too well. But I mean, that's just why like you have people like Seth Rogen and Martin Scorsese and that are just
Quentin
like
Tarantino.
they're
They're
just,
like
it's-
fuck
they're
Marvel
like-
films.
Yeah, they're just like,
don't-
well, they are what they are, but they're just not like cinema. They're
They're not films.
They're junk food movies. They're movies that you can go watch.
Bubblegum pop.
Yeah, like they're like pop. They're quintessential movie theater movie. Like I'm going to go see a movie. I'm going to go get my popcorn. I'm going to get a hot dog, and I'm going to go watch Iron Man, punch a hole through a robot. It's not like I'm going to
the popcorn, put it on my,
right.
And
Put it on
I
my
want some butter in her popcorn.
Because a lot of the Seth Rogen movies, just thinking on the top of my head, are not appropriate for my kids to watch.
No,
And
that's
they're
why
younger though.
Thunder Bro movies.
And then I mean my girls have watched, Harley Quinn and all of those, when they were a little bit younger. Not so much right now, right? Listen, my kid wants to be Pennywise, okay? She is in love with Pennywise.
My kid watches Five Nights at Freddy's, and they're barely making a film about that. So there you go.
Yeah.
Right.
You'd love that Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, my 4-year-old started on that one the other day. I was like, hey, let's slow down a little bit.
Wow.
I don't get like little kids liking it. Like, I can barely play the game for less than 2 minutes because it's like it's a game built around a jump scare that's going to happen. It's like that's not fun. That's not fun.
Well,
Yeah.
Luke,
It's
you
YouTubers,
have a SpongeBob
influencers.
background.
Yeah, I think it's the influencers that are making it less scary. I mean, if you see Pennywise multiple times, it's not going to be scary.
Not to mention Fortnite. Fortnite and a lot of video games put some of these characters into their video games.
Yeah.
My son knew about Alien and Freddy Krueger before he's even seen the movie, just from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Influence. So I mean, it's just the same thing with these comic book films. I feel like a lot, like Luke is saying, it's very good for comic books. I think they redesigned and cast Iron Man based off of Robert Downey Jr.
Honestly, and there's another aspect to this that with like some of the older filmmakers, and this is something we're probably also going to be guilty of in the future. It's just a little bit of old man yells at clouds. It's like, things are changing.
Yeah.
I mean, Tarantino is great. Tarantino and Seth Rogen, I think they're exactly. At one point, Seth Rogen was the edgiest motherfucker on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
He was all about. He was what all the cool kids. He's what all the teens like. These days, Seth Rogen's audience are idiots like me. They are people. They are, there are guys in office jobs.
Right.
Yeah, or like a dad. He's like, your music's too loud, and
exactly.
He just completely went that route.
I mean, Seth Rogen would have to do like a Minecraft movie or something to get
back into that age group, right?
Right. Yeah. Jump it.
Or maybe he has a kid.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, was it? I think Seth Rogen's in the Mario. Like, he's in the Mario movie with Chris Pratt. It's like, yeah, dude.
Yeah, see? So he's
touching. That's an old game, too, though. That's
that's his game. But still, it's just like, Rogen, you're not edgy anymore. You just need to accept that. You are at a different place now.
Yeah.
Even Jonah Hill has Academy nominations now.
So Luke, are you saying that he's at the dad bod stage in his career?
Oh, he was always dad bod.
He was already dad bod.
Yes.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
He was always immature dad. When he first started out, he was always immature.
Yeah, he is at his platonic ideal now. Yeah.
Yeah.
He should be more dad. But yeah, he's
Luke, he's there.
So I got an interesting set, and we don't normally talk about this, and we're gonna start talking about these more because I find them absolutely hilarious, and I think this year's was actually kind of not surprising. I mean, we kind of predicted some of these. The Razzies. So I want to talk about 2020's Razzies that they gave out. So this is last year's. So one of the worst movies there's two movies that basically got, I don't like to use this word too much because, PC, but I'm going to use it again because it is absolutely true. These two movies got absolutely raped by the Razzies.
Yeah.
And that was Space Jam Legacy and Diana the Musical.
Oh.
LeBron James got worst actor. Remember what I said, Steve? Who said that? That was me. I said that was probably one of the worst acting like I've ever seen. And we even said he was flat, wasn't good. But he also got worst screen combo on film. Not to mention, it also got worst prequel remake ripoff for Space Jam. That's what Space Jam got, guys.
Man, I haven't even seen the new Space Jam because in my heart, you cannot outdo the first one. You can't outdo the first.
Okay. I guess we're gonna have this talk again, and since we have a new crew member, we're gonna have to give her a little lesson here. First of all, the first.
Hold on, let me crack open another one.
First Space Jam. Let's be honest. When it first came out, it wasn't that good. It's not that good of a movie. It's not. It's just.
I actually watched it. I watched it a few years back. The plot is it's much thinner than you realized. It's
as an adult, yeah.
Yeah, it's very shallow. However, it is funny. It is charming. Michael Jordan has a natural charisma about him, and I like to quote Luke on this, and I use him every time when I describe this movie. Michael Jordan has that natural charisma to where you're not sitting there going, ugh, when you're watching him. You're like, oh, it's Michael Jordan. Yeah. And the Looney Tunes themselves, this is at a time too when the Looney Tunes were kind of riding that peak, that last vestige of their peak.
Yeah, Tiny Toons Adventures peak, so they were
Yes.
still relevant, you know what I mean?
They were still relevant, and it was still really good. And there is still some good comedy and satire in the movie that is really funny. But for the most part, Space Jam, I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that and also too, it's kind of a meta movie, which I love too, because it's also about Michael Jordan's comeback. Because in the beginning, because he was actually out of basketball at the time.
Yep.
During that movie, he was practicing, and when you see that movie, when they restart his career again, you see him actually in a game in which that was a real game in which he came back. Yeah,
he's like, fastball, don't swing.
Right, but Space Jam was all right. It's grown a lot over time with people like us because it's charming. And we love the Looney Tunes. And it was kind of like the last gasp of the Looney Tunes as well before Brendan Fraser's Looney Tunes the last Looney Tunes movie they actually did there.
Yeah.
Which also wasn't that bad when I went back and watched it too. But that's the issue with this. The LeBron James one though, I mean, kids liked it. Let's just be honest. Kids liked it. They loved it. So
LeBron doesn't got it. He doesn't got what Michael Jordan has.
He doesn't have the charisma like Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
That's why too. If you hadn't noticed, Donna, did you not notice the difference between the two movies? How Michael Jordan was not animated in the movie like LeBron was. LeBron was animated half the film because he didn't have no fucking charisma. He had to have it animated itself.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, no, right. Yeah, she defended Space Jam. So
okay,
I'm saying I haven't seen it because the first one, in my opinion only, I enjoyed it, but it also reminded me of a good time during my childhood.
Looney Tunes,
right? Nostalgic, yeah.
Looney Tunes. Exactly. That's why I enjoyed it so much. I can't watch this new crap.
Yeah.
Because they played it at my job, and I have, 18, 19-year-old kids. They're like, oh my God, this movie's amazing. It's amazing.
Kids
I'm like,
loved it.
Have you seen the original? Like, can we talk about that?
But it's got a lot of the sequel. I think the sequel is just about like, it was for them kind of because the
nostalgia of it, of Warner Brothers bringing everything back.
It was meta, and meta is huge now with kids.
Don Cheadle, we have to say.
He was the film.
Don was the film.
Yeah,
Don
he
Cheadle
was
that
film.
film.
But the whole thing that wasn't the film and why it got worse, like what it's getting, worse screenplay and worse design and everything, is when you have the in shot where they're playing the actual basketball game. When you have the like thugs from Clockwork Orange standing next to like Hook from
Gremlins.
the Hooked, or Gremlins standing next to Agent Smith and thinking that's cool. What are they doing in that film in the first place? Isn't this supposed to be for kids?
It was the Warner Brothers universe, bro.
It was just them going like, we're here, we're Warner Brothers, remember us, like us as well. These Looney Tune characters you probably don't know because you're 5 to 10. They're here, and they're being changed too. Not that you care,
but
we're changing them up.
You don't remember this.
Yeah,
older guys remember this.
Right, so they didn't really have they just was like grasping at straws, and there was too much of LeBron James on the screen talking. There's too much. Like you said, Rob, we like harking back to our review. It is funny how they have LeBron James as a cartoon character, like getting his head smashed in and like bringing his head out, doing quirky like slapstick stuff, like he's Chris Farley. And I'm like, they did that with Michael Jordan at the end when he's playing the game.
Right.
Remember, or like the part when he got turned into the basketball. Yeah, like there was like points where it's like he gets slammed by the Monstars and then he turns back into a human. It's not like, okay, we're turning Michael Jordan into a complete
loser. They didn't need to.
They didn't need to. He's charismatic. LeBron James is like rolling
monotone.
Hey son, it's no slight on him. He's not an actor.
But I don't want to spend too much time on Space Jam because the other movie that did get a lot of heat was Diana the Musical.
Yeah, and for the record, this was not even an actual movie. It was the film version.
I did see it
of the stage musical.
Yes, I did sit down for this though because I love Hamilton. I don't think there's anyone. I know Luke loves it. I know Steve loves it. Donna, I don't know if you've seen Hamilton. Great, theater production, performance, whatever you want to say. Hamilton's amazing. The only people that talk shit about it are the people that have never seen it. However, this was not that. This was so shallow of a musical. I mean, you had, and I already knew where it was going. It's basically the story of Princess Diana, but everything you already knew about her life, everything you already knew about the controversy with the royals, the split with them, her whole affair with the Arab guy, the Muslim, the contradiction. But not just that, the music was just
Bad.
bad. I mean, real bad. I mean, I'm talking, and I know Steve knows what I'm talking about because I write myself. When people do rhymes like "by," "high,"
Yeah.
"we're
First
flying
grade stuff.
high."
Oh
Yes, this is what this
yes.
was, and it was so
Mhm.
cliche.
And it was the whole movie they did it. It wasn't like one song. It was like they did it every single time.
It was bad, and
Bad.
not just that, but uh, was it Jenna DeWall got worst actress for this film? Ooh.
I yeah.
I mean, this is the Razzies. They've given
Yeah.
Kevin Costner more awards than anybody, but still,
Yeah. The
like,
Razzies also like they like to do sort of stunt stuff that it's like it's not really the worst movie, but it
right.
like really gets attention for giving them the worst movie. So.
So let's go ahead and talk about our main topic about films where you are lost. Films about being lost. You know, I think there's this is a genre of films I think that have been around for a long time. A lot of I mean, what comes to the top off of my head is like, for instance, I remember. Do you guys remember those movies about the dog Benji?
Yeah.
1974, about
Yeah.
the little dog that was lost, and basically it was always about this dog that gets. For those of you who don't know, Benji is started in 1974. It's basically about this dog that always gets lost, and while his owners are always searching for him, he always seems to run into some kind of grand adventure where the
An
dog
adventure. Yeah.
like helps out, like in
Scuba
one movie,
diving. He's helping out old people.
helping out
He's doing.
cougar cubs, and
Yeah, right.
basically, and there's they're kind of quirky films. They're kind of sad. I always
Yeah,
think they were
they're
real
all.
sad. These aren't a group of films I actually like to watch that much. Um, they all range about the same too, 6 out of 10. But I remember specifically there's like one where he's like lost on an island taking care of cougar cubs, and his owner like is in a helicopter searching for him. Obviously, a very, very wealthy owner to be searching for a helicopter for a missing dog, but the dog itself doesn't even go on, doesn't go towards the owner because he knows he has to help these cougar cubs. And most of these films, there is no dialogue.
Just the dog.
It's just the
Right?
dog.
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
not.
there's dialogue from the humans that are
Yeah,
speaking.
but there's not even like, it's not even like Homeward Bound where the dogs actually have like narration in their thoughts or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, did you guys ever see Benji?
No, I heard of
I don't
it.
think I have.
You guys have never seen Benji,
Wow.
really?
No.
It's weird. I
are
grew
depressing
up watching
movies.
I watched
Man,
Ninja movies.
man, live action dog movies are always so depressing because it's like that dog's gonna die. That dog's that dog's gonna get neglected.
Oh, when
Like-
it's not even the same dog.
Yeah.
Oh.
For the next film, because you know that
It's
dog.
just not a situation where the
That
dog
dog's
just can't be. The dog just can't, just
Yeah.
exist.
Yeah, because they started in the 70s, but I remember seeing them making them in the 90s. I'm like, that's not the same Benji. That just can't be.
Right.
That-
Same thing when they made the sequel to Homeward Bound.
Homer, yeah.
Like, I was like,
right.
those aren't the same dogs.
Yeah.
Homeward Bound was a sequel to Benji?
No. They did the same thing. They changed the dogs up. in
Oh,
Homeward
right,
Bound,
right.
the
Oh, yeah, I
sequel.
remember. I really liked Homeward Bound.
Or the Beethoven movies, they change them up like, that's not Beethoven.
Uh-huh. What was
God.
Beethoven? Oh, this is about lost movies, not about Beethoven.
Wait, you're wondering what Beethoven? Beethoven was about a
Yeah, what was like the plot? Because I'm pretty sure it was just there's a giant Saint Bernard, but like
he's a giant Saint
Yeah.
Bernard. But okay, so the
When he
first
gets
one is
adopted.
actually kind of serious. The first
Yeah,
one
very serious.
is
actually.
about the Saint Bernard, and he has like a little oh my God, what was the wishbone dog? Jack Russell. And basically they escape from these
They
guys that are
escape,
experimenting on them.
Okay.
And the Saint Bernard they were both at like this pet shop, but the Saint Bernard goes to the family. The family takes him. It's a big caper of them raising this big huge dog. Then all of a sudden the scientist comes back. He's actually the vet. and he tries to basically swindle his way to get the Saint Bernard back so they can do tests with a gun. Basically, he's like getting black market, like, companies to test on animals. And one of them, they were testing a part where, like, he was like, he gets sent a fucking gun, and they're like, "Can you test this on an animal?" And he's like, "Well, I guess Saint Bernard's skull is perfect."
Yeah, clearly, like, they were struggling to figure out how to actually make a movie. They clearly were just like, well, here's a Saint Bernard. How the fuck do we get a plot out? They're just like,
hasn't there been a few movies with Saint Bernards in it, like Beethoven?
That's what we're talking about, huh?
Like, films.
But it's like, we did, clearly they were like, okay, well, then the vet tries to take him back. We're like, well, how do we make that a bad thing? He probably should go back to his owner. How do we make it like, oh, what if he's going to use a gun on the dog?
We're going to have experimentations on
with the
Saint
gun.
Bernard.
Like, does that make any sense? Like,
no.
no.
But, Beethoven was an interesting film. And actually, really funny enough, the first movie has David Duchovny in it.
Yes.
Yeah, he's actually a sleazy con businessman in the film who gets, basically, they get sent on a trip where the dog wraps his leash around their chairs and then runs down the street. Another good lost film, I would say, and I think everyone probably will agree with me here, probably one of the greatest, and probably one we're going to be a little more serious about, is Apocalypse Now, 1979. This is, of course, a lost film by a U.S. Army officer serving in Vietnam, tasked with assassinating a renegade special forces colonel who sees himself as a god. That's the direct summary from IMDb. This is rated, of course, one of the greatest films of all time. You got Skies of the Valkyrie in this movie, or Fly the Valkyries, I should say. Made that piece huge. Francis Ford Coppola was the director, of course. Starred Martin Sheen, Charlie Sheen's father. Some of the most famous scenes done by an actor in films, where he's drunk in front of the mirror and actually really punching things. This is one of those great films. I mean, you can almost chalk Apocalypse Now up to it as an adult adventure film. Can I get an amen on that from anybody here on the crew?
Yeah,
extremely good.
Yeah,
but an adult adventure film. I mean, this is a film about trying to find something.
This is adulting the movie.
Yeah. It's one of those films that's like, wow. I mean, there's so many iconic scenes in it. I mean, one of my favorite ones is right off the top of my head is when the guy's sitting there and he has a grenade launcher and he hears that guy screaming out there. Remember this, Steve? And he like shoots him and he's like, "Who's in charge here?" He's like, "Who's in charge?" And he's like, "Maybe you in charge."
Yeah. There's so many. Yeah, there's a lot of memorable quotes from this movie. If you are wondering what is Apocalypse Now, it's the film that has the most quotable line I think they said for a while in films of, "I love the smell of napalm in the morning."
Yeah,
that's a very quotable line. It just has a lot of iconic shots. It kind of wasn't this the film that springboarded the Vietnam craze of films that we had gotten from like the 70s, 80s, 90s?
I think this is the film that definitely took it to a whole nother darker level. Because for the most part, a lot of the Vietnam films prior to this were more about the battles themselves, like Hamburger Hill.
Yeah.
And then when you see the film like this is a film that's really about the dark aspects of the Vietnam War, about all the renegade stuff.
It definitely is the most notable example of like the shift in war films from previous generations that emphasized American heroism to what we tended to get, later on, with the exception of a couple of things in the 80s, where the vast majority of the films were about like the innate, darkness and cruelty of war.
Right.
And had a lot of things to say about America's place in those wars we fought. Obviously, there were exceptions that still kind of emphasize this, like Saving Private Ryan and Top Gun and all that. But I would say from then on, and especially in this era, when you are showing, Americans in a war, it's bad. It's like, this is bad. All of this is bad.
Right. You definitely want to show this darker aspect, which is where they get from Apocalypse Now from.
Yeah.
We mentioned this movie before, but I love to mention this movie because I think as time goes on, one, I think it kind of gets better, but it also loses its lackluster. It's almost a lesson in itself as a film. And that's 2007's Into the Wild. Great book. Director. This is actually director Sean Penn. Starred Emily Hirsch, Vince Vaughn, Catherine Kenner, Marcia Gray Harden. Story of a graduating student who basically throws away all his money, all his worldly possessions to go live in Alaska on the wilderness. Along the way, it's a great adventure where he meets a lot of people, learns a lot of life lessons. Ultimately, though, he dies in the film. It's kind of a life lesson for a lot of people that want to kind of experience that kind of, that kind of drifter lifestyle, live off nothing, live off the land. Nomadic life. Yeah, nomadic life. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you, Donna.
It's my daughter's middle name.
I love this film though, because what's really interesting about this movie is it's actually caused a lot of deaths, and I'm not saying that's a good way, but that's why the film is interesting itself. It's a movie about a guy who threw away everything to live off the wilderness. Ultimately, it led a lot of people to do the same thing, who ended up dying just like him in the movie. And he himself actually was trying to come home at the time he died, because he died off eating a bad plant. You know, I think like 12 miles from the nearest ranger station.
Yeah.
Tragic story. But this is a film that, inspires a lot of people to go out and do a lot of great things with their lives, but also has caused, at least I know, 4 people factually have died trying to imitate this film. But ultimately, it's a good movie, though. What do you guys think about Into the Wild?
Movie's not bad. The book was amazing.
Right, the book is amazing.
The book is great.
Yeah.
Luke, what do you think about Into the Wild? I don't think you've ever really been a fan of this film.
I haven't really had much of an opinion on it, one way or the other. It's especially it's a line between like empathizing with the story and then romanticizing what was kind of a series of extremely stupid things.
Right.
Because my boy did, in fact, there's a lot of theories about what may have happened. Maybe he just fully straight up starved. Some people think he probably poisoned himself, that maybe incapacitated him, so he wasn't able to get supplies and probably succumbed to illness or cold. We don't know specifically. We do know that he was within reach of a shelter out there. He probably could have helped himself. Had he done basic, had he taken basic precautions? So it's just one of those things where it's like,
maybe watch an episode or 2 of Naked and Afraid.
Maybe. Exactly.
Right.
Just takes it. Just if you get guys, I'll tell you what. Listen, I lived in Flagstaff for a while. I get it. I get the call of nature, the yearning for the outdoors. Just watch some YouTube videos on some basic safety. People do it all the time.
Every once in a while.
People, spend long-term times out in the wilderness all the time. They take precautions so they don't die, because you will die. Yeah. You will die, and they probably won't even find you.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Or
I've got a buddy that prefers to go camping when there's like 5 foot of snow outside because it's fun.
Exactly.
No.
There are a lot of extremist people.
He is prepared.
I'm sure he goes prepared.
Be prepared. Yes. You do.
Also, go armed to the teeth, because there's a lot of fucking psychos out there that'll fuck.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Are you talking about the bears or people?
People.
Okay.
But
bears.
Now that you said that, Donna, about bears, and we're talking about Lost movies, this is one of
the Edge, right?
The Edge. You knew it. This is like one of my favorite go-to cheap movies. Sort of. It's not really that cheap, but
I can't help it. I'm sorry.
I can't help it, man.
I'm sorry, Alec, but I have to point this out. This is a film about Alec Baldwin trying to murder somebody.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, it is.
Yeah, it is.
It is. But it's so up. For those of you who have never seen The Edge, and I'm glad Steve brought it up.
Seen it.
The Edge is about Anthony Hopkins, Alec Baldwin, and the dude that was in the second Matrix.
Yeah, the guy in the second Matrix, the black guy.
The guy in the second Matrix, right.
I forget his name. I can't even pronounce his name. It's just like Harold.
I'm
Harold.
sorry.
He's a great actor, but they all did very, very well in this film. Anthony Hopkins is like a rich man. He's a wealthy man. And then he has like Alec Baldwin,
a hot girl.
A young, hot, like, and Anthony Hopkins has had a very weird track record of having hot wives and his like younger, hotter wife in his films that either want to kill him or he wants to kill them.
Right.
Like, it's either the opposite.
Fracture.
I don't know what that's.
Fracture.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of
he
too.
Shoots his wife in Fracture.
Yeah, he shoots his friend. It's either that or they want to shoot
a young FBI agent.
And then like somebody wants to kill him that's also younger. So that they get their plane crashes and they get trapped in the Arctic.
It's the Alaskan wilderness.
And they are being hunted by not Jaws, but
my worst fear.
Your worst, a bear, a giant
bear.
That
bears have no mercy. Bears have no mercy.
They don't. No, they don't.
Rob, come back to Kansas and meet some of the local tweakers around here. Okay.
There's bears there. No.
Tweakers do not attack at night like a bear and like eat that guy.
Right. I'm not gonna have to make a what does he call him? It's a fall.
Yeah.
A deadfall. A deadfall for a tweaker where I'm gonna have him come over like and then fucking pull up a stick, right? He comes on me and then stab him. Yeah, that's what happened in that movie. But Steve, that's a very small part of it. Even though they are being attacked by the bear, they deal with the bear relatively quick in the film. The real story is when Alec Baldwin finds out that his girl has been Anthony Hopkins' girl has actually been banging Alec Baldwin the whole time. And there's like this secret, untalked about like betrayal moment where he's like, I'm gonna fucking stab you in the back the minute I get. And what's fucked up, spoilers, my audience.
Yeah, spoilers.
Anthony Hopkins fucking kills him. Not intentionally, but it is by accident. It is by accident. However, though, the best part of the film, and I know Steve can attest this, is when he goes up to his girl and gives her that fucking watch that said thank you for all those good nights. She looks at him, he's like, I'm out, bitch.
I'm out. Like, I got the money. Like, I
fuck your modeling career.
You know what I mean?
You
so
ain't
like,
getting shit.
Yeah. He gives her the watch, and the only thing I thought about is like him going, keep the watch. I just made a necklace out of this like bear. Like,
I got a bearskin pelt here. You see this, girl? I'm fucking badass. Yeah. That
this
was
is a crazy film for its time. That's very popcorn cheesy film, but it's also a very cool like take on a very real fear. Like if you're lost in the wilderness and a bear's hungry.
Yeah, that's Rob's fear, being eaten by a fucking bear.
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll eat you alive.
Hey, I've seen Grizzly Man. That doesn't look fun.
No, it doesn't.
Speaking of like the real fears or whatever, and this one is kind of stupid.
What?
But zombies. But not your everyday type of zombies.
Was this a lost zombie film?
I Am Legend zombies.
Oh, okay. That's actually a good lost. Okay, I'll accept that one. Okay. I Am Legend. They're more vampires than zombies.
Yeah. They're both. Yeah, they're running around like zombies.
They're kind of they're kind of mixture of two. Like they're there, but the whole trying to find a cure thing or whatever. And the reason why I brought this up is because I seen somewhere on the good old TikToks the other day, they showed a picture of the dog Sam when he was in the movie and what he looked like now. He's gained a little weight. He's a little chubby.
The dog's still alive?
The dog is still alive.
Jesus. Wow. Mostly when you hear about dogs in movies, the next thing you read is that dog's dead.
Yeah.
Like when I first seen Air Bud, I looked up
Air Bud.
It's like that dog that dog has 3 legs and it's dead.
Yeah. Well, no, Air Bud was different. He was just on a movie with Alec Baldwin.
Okay. I failed as a parent because I've never showed my girls any of the Air Bud movies yet.
No, you haven't. You just got to show them the first one with the basketball.
The basketball, yeah, that's how you lost the one leg.
The whole time you're going to be watching that movie, you're going to be sitting there saying, that dog has 3 legs? How the fuck does it have 3 legs? That's some movie magic. Some movie magic.
I don't know. Ask my friend. Her dog just got a leg amputated. It got too close to Big Dog's fold bowl.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You made it automatically sad. Good joke over. Anyway.
Right.
I Am Legend, though, I think I think it's such an interesting film. It's a film that, I don't know, it kind of goes down the middle for me. I know a lot of people, I know a lot of mainstream people who, don't really watch too many movies that love that film. But then you got critics like us that kind of, I don't want to say we think it's just okay, but I'm going to say I just think it's okay. I mean, I think it's a good film, but to a degree.
There's a moment where the movie goes downhill for me.
Go ahead, Luke. I want to hear that.
Specifically the moment right after he does that attempted suicide run on all of it. Like he's just like, I'm gonna fuck all your up because you killed my dog. And then he it all fucks up and he wakes up and there's a mom and her kid. Like at that point,
it almost is like
and the butterfly.
Yeah, up to that point, great movie, and I think, and it was actually a really interesting film that for a big blockbuster. Just the fact that it focused all on Will Smith. Obviously, you had the flashbacks, but that was genuinely impressive that they made a whole film without any other characters for him to deal with. It was all him. It was all alone. You really had a sense of the crawling, encroaching isolation. Will Smith did a great job. And then there was just fuck, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck?
So with that being said, how would you guys feel if they actually went through with I Am Legend 2? After everything that happened with what he did and smacking.
I'm glad you bring that out. Because I have a little tirade I'm going to go for you, Will. And I'm going to speak. This is Rob speaking the truth. I know what Steve's knowing. I'm going to say, you know what? I don't give a fuck about what the Academy says about you, Will. Because they never respected you anyway. I mean, what films were you ever nominated for besides King Richard from the Academy? Fuck them. And, I'm going to have to censor this. And I'm sorry, but it's true. Fuck them. The Academy has never shown Will Smith any respect. And when it comes to Will Smith is a great actor. He's a great actor. Coming from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and this is what I really, he has that Michael Jordan complex. And what I'm talking about is, I know Steve knows what I'm talking about here, is everyone has this perceived notation of who he was because he was the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Everyone's like, oh, he's such a good guy. He can never do no wrong. And the minute he does something that's so outlandish, everyone's like, oh, he should never be in another film ever again. Man, get the out of here. He's Will Smith. He's Will Smith. He did Independence Day. The guy saved Earth 3 times from aliens.
Yeah, with a computer error, no less.
3 times. I Am Robot. Great film. Great popcorn film. Men in Black. Great popcorn film. And, you can make the argument. Will Smith will never be more than a popcorn actor. But whatever. He, dude, he's still very memorable in cultural in cultural society.
He's still better than Tom Cruise.
Well, I think he's on par. He's right there with him. I think he's kind of created a lane like a Tom Cruise, where he kind of is honestly, what he's doing.
He has made the greatest career next to a Sidney Poitier and Denzel Washington as anyone would ever make. That's who you could put Will Smith down there, because Will Smith has great films. Enemy of the State is a pretty damn good film.
Yeah, he's created his own lane. Yeah, me too. I'm not even gonna lie. I rented that so many dang times.
But before you go, Steve, let me just say this. Before you go, Steve, let me just say this too. Yeah, his films, in my opinion, were never given as much credit until later on, because everything they thought that he did after French Prince of Bel-Air it's just the French Prince of Bel-Air guy doing a film.
Right. Yeah, he was typecast for sure.
Him up for failure. Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely a typecast guy. I think it's just Will Smith is always going to be a typecast guy. No one's ever going to forget the Fresh Prince, and as long as that happens, you're typecast. He's a unique actor. Where he in the '90s he got popular making a lot of popcorn films that we know and love. Bad Boys, Wild West.
They're talking about a new one on that one too.
Yeah, and even in the 2000s.
Why? Because they did so well.
They did well, but they're not he didn't show his. I think the first movie that I actually took Will very serious was like 7 Pounds.
Pursuit of Happiness for me.
Pursuit of Happiness was like the one, but like 7 Pounds was really him trying to go for it, and then it was the Pursuit of Happiness. It was Ali. That was another one that was very
Ali
good.
was great. Ali's a great bio. You know, I'm so glad you brought that. Ali's a great biopic.
It was a very good biopic, and I feel like he was just been ever since then trying to get out of that hole. But he does do the action films. That's what he's good at. So that's where he kind of made his namesake. So an I Am Legend, like that type of performance, I felt like he was playing it right at home because he kind of does those films very, very well. If he's on the run or he's alone, Will kind of does that pretty darn well. He's a very charismatic guy, just naturally. So he brings.
That's why I thought I Am Legend was good, because another last film that you can kind of compare I Am Legend to. Unfortunately, though, it does do better than I Am Legend is Tom Hanks's Castaway, where Tom Hanks is completely alone. The difference with that is that Tom Hanks, the reason I would say Castaway is the better film is because Tom Hanks made you care about a fucking inanimate object.
Yeah,
you actually care about a fucking volleyball at the end of the film.
You leave Wilson alone.
Hey,
Wilson, that's why he was so upset.
Wilson was one of the fucking greatest.
It made you care about a volleyball.
Second actors on a film set ever. Okay, but
that's
look, I
real.
Haven't heard you say anything about Will Smith. What do you think about Will Smith overall?
Do you think he's a Scientologist?
Do I think he's a Scientologist?
That has been the single. That has been a talk. That has been a rumor. That has been some sort of like secret thing for years. That like is Will Smith actually a Is him and Jada Pinkett Smith also Scientologists? Because they've never obviously never said it.
The Eyes Wide Shut parties.
Exactly.
It's like where's the Illuminati at now?
Exactly. It's what it's such a weird and I don't know. It's just I feel like Will Smith. There's something going on with Will Smith.
Yeah.
Luke, I've never heard you diss someone's acting though. Based on that. Well, I never heard you diss someone's acting though. Off that though, what do you think of Will Smith as an actor though?
Like, he's pretty good.
He's pretty good.
Okay.
Like it's good.
No, I think
but
he's
Scientology shit needs to be answered.
Like I think Will. I mean, for me, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is a type of show that I can still watch. Like I don't think I can do that with any other '90s sitcom. They are rough.
No, you're not Friends guy.
Huh?
I never got into Friends.
Friends with Jennifer Aniston and
Seinfeld.
I'm sure there's stuff in Friends that's still funny, but like it's also contrived. Also, some of it is extremely out. In the '90s, it was a lot of jokes in the '90s and early 2000s were just making fun of somebody for being either gay or mentally disabled. That was like half of the humor. Like
the audience laugh tracks throw me off.
Oh yeah,
do laugh tracks throw you guys off? They throw me off.
It's
it's like that wasn't a joke. That was the setup.
It sucks because How I Met Your Mother's a little bit better, but that's because it's all scripted and it's not in front of a live audience, so it's paced better. But like with live audiences, like they just kind of stand there and they're frozen right after they say their line. It's all just weird, awkward. It's all just weird. It stays weird. It starts to feel alien. If from nowadays where we all kind of focus on like single camera stuff like The Office and Parks and Rec, where it's just like joke, and it just tries to do a natural flow like sitcoms. Like then Will Smith, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, very different. It's still very wacky and silly, but it's very funny. It's still very. But besides that, yeah, Will Smith is like he's had a crazy career.
Right.
And there are very few people in the world that have ever been as famous as Will Smith, ever will be as famous as Will Smith.
Thank you, Luke.
I don't think, and the thing is, it is a shame that modern pop culture will remember that slap more than any other aspect.
Right, that's what I think is such a shame. I think that's shameful.
And this is not to excuse what he did. That was outrageous. That was crazy what he did.
I don't think it
truly was the crazy shit I've ever seen.
I don't. I think what was crazy is Chris Rock, and I've said this before. Chris Rock's insult to comedy when he did that. I'd have slapped him myself. Chris,
Listen,
you know what you did. You made a stupid joke.
He made a stupid joke
He
and
made
had a
a
woman who
stupid
had
joke.
it.
Slap him.
It's so, but yeah, it is great. But like, I don't know. I just because I think the thing is, if you see that slap, it's just like something else was going on. There's something else going on. It's like,
I think
that,
it's the what made it weird was not the slap, it was the yelling, the keep my wife's
it
name
was
out
the
your-"
whole
but
thing was
that's
off. It was
Yeah.
just like, what was
that kinda
going
hurt.
on? And I mean,
Yeah.
like, I think because we do know that there was some stuff leading up to that. After all, I think the 2 years before that was the Will Smith meme of him crying because his
Right.
wife told the world that she
And
cheated on
She
him, and he
cheated
was
on
like,
him, right?
to his
not only
face
did
and
she
the world
not only did she cheat on him, she doesn't think it was cheating because of the circumstances of the relationship. Even
Right.
though Will Smith was like, "Yeah, that feels like cheating," and she's
Yeah.
like, "Well, I don't think that way." It's like, dude, why?
Yeah.
I will defend Will Smith's smack on this, but as a woman myself, I do not need any man, let alone my husband,
To
to
stand up
stick
for
up
you.
to stand up for me. Like if you want to bad mouth me, okay. If it gets to the point where I can't take it, I will say something.
So I will smack you instead.
I will smack you.
Exactly.
Let's
So,
go, boo boo. These
For
hands ready
for
for everyone.
and they say something about you, Donna, I'll be like, I'll just turn you and smack the shit out of
Listen, you already know how I feel about certain people, okay? You still think I'm a bitch about it. But I was right.
I've said this before and I'll say it again. What Chris Rock did, because Chris Rock, I'm sorry, Chris, you're not funny anymore. You're not. You're stuck in a 90s satire where you're doing stereotypical racist jokes that I don't think are very funny or don't catch on. It's like, do you ever seen a white person leave his job? It's like, dude, everyone knows about those stereotypes now.
Yeah.
So no one ever does them
He
anymore.
needs
It was
better
a
material.
G.I. Jane joke.
He made a
So-
G.I. Jane joke, which is from where, Steve? The fucking 90s.
Who's
Because that's
knowing
what
G.I.
Chris Rock
Jane?
is stuck in.
Yeah.
The fucking 90s. His satire, his comedy, all in the 90s. And I'm sorry, guys, when someone makes a poor joke, that's what happens. You cannot sit there and say, oh, I wouldn't. I mean, how many people do you ever hear say, I would defend my wife if anyone ever did that? But yet some guy goes up and smacks someone because his wife has fucking cancer and he made a joke about G.I. Jane?
Dude, I don't know, Rob. I think you're a little too far. I think
Jada Pinkett Smith is out of cancer. She has alopecia, which means
she has
That's-
alopecia.
Okay,
Yeah.
there you go. You know what I
That's
mean.
the word.
Yeah, she has
Yeah,
alopecia.
But what if the shoe
why?
was on the other foot? What
Yeah.
if it was another male or another female? Would he have made that joke? Like, I mean, he was kind of picking.
It's a terrible joke.
Yeah,
It was a terrible joke with
I'm
terrible
trying to
timing.
remember if he
Also,
did.
Yeah, I think he would have still. It's Chris Rock. He's made jokes like that and before.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like with your take about it, is
still be
why
relevant.
didn't the only thing I'm a little perplexed is like he said, keep my wife's name out your mouth. So Chris
Not his
Rock.
wife
And I'm like,
anymore.
well, why didn't he say keep Demi Moore's name out your mouth? He made the G.I. Jane joke, dude. So
No, no,
because he
hurt
was
him.
because she had lost all of her hair because of what she has, and he made the GI Joe
he
joke
got up there.
towards
He
her.
was getting up there to like hit because he was making a show of the fact that Chris Rock insulted his wife and he wasn't going to take that. That was the point. That was the.
I don't see why that's a problem. I
It
don't.
wasn't even
And
a hit, like it wasn't even. Yeah, obviously the whole point was that Will Smith was like clearly showing that he did
man
not
is
want somebody insulting his
aggressive.
wife.
Right, you're right.
But also,
somebody. Oh my god.
but these people are also stars. They're used to the criticism, the paparazzi, and everything else following them around 24/7.
Yeah.
He should have known to be able to handle himself just a tad bit better.
I think, yeah, clearly he should. It's again. That's why I'm always like curious.
know.
That's why I'm always curious what was going on. It just seemed like
It just
why
seems
was
like
this?
if
Why
we
was
were in
this
a
the
award
moment?
show-
Why was this the point
Right.
that he?
And
why was
Cam
this
or
the
like
point
you,
that he
Luke,
fucking
said
lost it?
something that was personal like that to me. I don't know. I think I would kind of react the same way too. I mean, it's kind of going like above our profession and saying like, you're not talking about something in podcasting. You're talking about something personal to me. So yeah, why wouldn't I smack the shit out of you?
The
but
thing about
like I
it, though,
said,
is
I
the
wouldn't need
ability
my
to-
husband or my spouse to do it. I'd, depending on who it was, I hope you guys wouldn't,
No, if we're award show, trust me, I'm gonna fucking rail your ass.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. It's just weird. But I look thinking back on what again, just Luke's like original point of like something is off about Will, because not only did he, he did that, and it is weird. Just whether we have our opinions on it, it is weird that he did do that on
I
that.
think you guys just have a Michael Jordan complex of
But
him.
but the thing about it is, Rob, he like flew to India and went to go get like cleansed and made a video about how he feels
Dave
good.
Chappelle went to fucking Africa when he lost his mind.
Yeah, and that's not like, that's still nothing that's normal. Like that's no normal person isn't gonna slap a man on national television, and the way to, clean themselves of it is fly to India and be like, I went to a Buddhist temple, I feel good, I'm one with myself.
I'll slap you guys if we ever win an award just for the fuck of it. Right in the middle of receiving the award.
This is for you, Will Smith.
Yeah, right.
And I'm gonna pull out a prop gun and shoot Luke with it for Alec Baldwin.
For Alec Baldwin.
Luke, it was nice knowing you.
Yeah. I knew this was probably how it was gonna end. I gotta
shooting with a prop gun. That's what you thought. You're like, this is how it was gonna end.
I always thought, like, I think this is the trajectory here. This is
Luke accepting an award at an award show.
Oh fuck! God damn.
Getting shot.
Right. I'm gonna come up there and be like, and to accept this reward, we will do a demonstration of the Crow. He killed Brandon Lee.
That's crazy.
We're all going
right up on
like,
stage, and I'll just fire a cat gun and kill Luke.
The thing that always kind of, the recent thing wasn't even the shooting with me with Alec Baldwin. It was his book that came out recently, where he just came off as like such an asshole in his own book. He is
an asshole though. What are you weirded out about that though?
Well, yeah, but like the book itself was like him trying to set the record straight. The thing that I loved, the one excerpt was when that whole like the voicemail of him like verbally abusing his daughter, his 13-year-old daughter. He was like, I didn't like how the media showed that because I lost my friendship with Barack Obama. That was his takeaway.
No, he didn't. He
did
not say that.
Yes. His takeaway was that he was mad that the media leaked the audio and that he lost his friendship with Barack Obama.
I would be mad too, personally, if you ruined my relationship with Barack Obama.
But the thing is that like on reflection, it's like, oh, by the way, I like completely cussed out my 13-year-old daughter for no reason. You know who the real victim is? Me, because the president's not my friend anymore.
The presidency of Barack Obama is like a lifetime ago, bro. That's like a whole nother parallel universe where he was once fucking president. Like, have you seen him now? The guy has no buttons on his top t-shirt, bro. He's just fucking chilling, windsurfing. I half expect that motherfucker to be on a moon trip one day. Like Barack Obama landing on the moon. Like, dude, he's just chilling. But yeah, I would be upset too if that ruined Barack Obama.
Yeah, I don't know. They're just I don't know, man. We're talking about two polarizing characters in film. Alec Baldwin and Will Smith.
I think whatever happens to Alec Baldwin, he kind of has it coming because he's an asshole. Will Smith is a weird. Will Smith is a different case because I don't know.
He worked his whole career on being clean. That's why
I was saying it's a notation of who he is. Yeah. Everyone always thinks he's the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It's like Michael Jordan. It's like when Michael Jordan got in trouble for gambling. Everyone was like, can you believe that?
What?
Oh yeah,
Jordan gambles. It's like
they're human too.
He's a fucking human being. He can do what he wants.
Yeah, but it's image,
he's
just
a sports guy. He's a fucking. Yeah. He's also super rich. Who gives a shit if he bets on the fucking game?
Yeah, right.
but I mean, if he wants to just throw money away, I'll take it.
I'll take that too. We'll take that any day.
At somebody like, but then in Alec Baldwin's case, you're not like going.
This is maybe off track, but was it also an issue with Michael Jordan that he may have been gambling in a way that may have affected the games too?
See, that's not true. That's not true.
The whole,
that's a conspiracy.
That's speculation because he'd been gambling so much that it's like, is he affecting?
See, this is why I don't get those conspiracy theories about Michael Jordan and like the whole idea that he left because of his gambling issue. You act like one man.
Well, I mean, like
into the game.
He got busted for. I mean, then like his dad was his dad got mysteriously murdered.
No, but his
by
dad
the
was murdered,
mafia,
but
possibly, but not really.
not
people-
really.
No, he didn't.
Okay.
Possibly not. That's
Yeah,
kind of
no,
like them
here's
saying
the-
the Chiefs freaking cheated and paid off the refs to go to the Super Bowl. Like, do you honestly think if we had the money to pay the refs off, if our roads looked like this?
See,
Okay.
he was killed by
that's
Daniel
where all the money
Andre
goes.
Green.
Yeah. See,
That's who
there's
he was
always
shot by.
there's just going to be some, again, just like this thing with Alec Baldwin. There's always going to be a speculative
His
thing.
dad slept in the car, and then he stole the car from his dad after his
So-
dad fell asleep in the car.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing, but it's what's more like that's not a cool story. You want to hear
Something exciting.
Yeah, exciting. The mob was involved. He
Dad
was
was
whatever.
Michael Jordan was,
He'd fleet to baseball and
right.
It's
he was
like
clipping games.
right. Same thing with Alec Baldwin. Oh, he killed
No,
this
I think
person
it's
on
because
set.
he
Why?
did
Why would he
Trump.
do that?
I think that's why. I think the reason everyone hates him is because he made fun of Donald Trump. I
And-
really
and,
believe
and
that's why
like what
everyone
Luke
hates
was
him. And he's an
saying
asshole.
too. And he's an asshole.
He's an
Again, it's so weird that he came out with that book, Rob, like suspiciously right after this incident came out, and
Wouldn't
it's
you?
not an endearing book. It's really just him going, "I am who I am. Deal with it." You know what I mean? I've yelled at kids. I've kind of yelled at people on set as well. So people are pointing the fingers. It's always about the
Yelling me out, I'm
intrigue
gonna
type
slap
of
you in
thing.
the face.
And the same thing with Will Smith. It's like the whole thing with the Scientology thing has been around for so long, and now this slap is that's all that
All
much has ruined this generation of Will Smith movies for this like generation of kids. So they're only gonna go like, yeah, that was a good movie that he performed in. He can win an Oscar based off of it.
remember when he
They're gonna
did
be
that
like,
slap?
oh, is he gonna go up there and slap somebody? It's like, you
Yeah.
know, it's just gonna happen for pretty much the end of time. Live. It's on
Yeah.
live. baby.
All right, everybody. So this has been a fun episode of the Real Sharks podcast. We got through quite a few things, and it was a good, nice show. So I want to thank everyone for joining us. Make sure you listen, like, and subscribe, and make sure you join us on any of our podcast platforms. Make sure you check out Jagged Tooth Clothing and help support the show. Help support the show on Patreon. Link is down below. Thank you so much.
You
From-
keep your podcast out your fucking mouth.
20,000 Leagues in the Sea. This is Rob with Steve, Luke, and Donna. Sam will catch you on the flip side, everybody. Have a great night.
Good night.